Hi, and welcome to the No Crime, No Time community. And we're going to be talking about Wisconsin teachers. And what's coming forward in the news is quite shocking. And I want to make sure that this kind of coverage doesn't get like swept under the rug and quiet. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to talk about, as long as the computer allows me to, we're going to talk about Daniel Peggs from Altoona. We're going to be talking about a Wisconsin teacher that was also charged with some other crimes as well. And then a Milwaukee teacher that was charged. So we're going to start off with Altoona superintendent case tied to another federal. Wait, that's the other one. Let me go back. Here we go. Okay. So this is a story about Daniel Peggs here. And this is all over my news. If you're in Wisconsin, you have seen this on the local news. A federal grand jury indicted Altoona school superintendent Daniel Peggs last week, and the indictment was unsealed after Peggs' arrest. Now, this was broadcast on February 20th, 2020, and it's KARE 11. Altoona, Wisconsin, a school superintendent in western Wisconsin, was arrested on Thursday for federal charges of sex trafficking a minor and production of child pornography. A federal grand jury indicted Altoona school superintendent Daniel Peggs last week, and the indictment was unsealed after Peggs' arrest. The U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Wisconsin, Scott Blader, and Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Cole said Thursday. Peggs, 32, was arrested about 7 o'clock a.m. Thursday on his way to school. Altoona School Board President Robin Elvidge told Leader Telegram, "Utter shock is an understatement," Elvidge said. "I'm still in shock." The Altoona School Board chose Peggs as its new superintendent in February 2019, and he began serving that position in July. Before that, he had been Altoona's middle school principal since 2016. The indictment alleges between October 2015 through May 2016, Peggs recruited an underage female for a commercial sex act and used an iPhone to produce a video of child pornography in December 2015. Later, the U.S. Attorney said the alleged conduct does not involve a student from the Altoona district. Peggs appeared in U.S. District Court in Madison on Thursday and was ordered to be held until a detention hearing Monday. His federal public defender, Joseph Bugney, said Thursday he had no comment. The Altoona School District has 4 schools and just over 1,700 students. The school district sent the following message to families. "We have been informed by local police that this morning around 7 a.m., Superintendent Dan Peggs was arrested and was indicted on federal charges of sex trafficking and production of child pornography. An investigation is taking place with federal and local law enforcement agencies. At this time, we are unaware of any Altoona students being involved. The Altoona School District Administration is working with the school board to look at our next steps. Student safety is, as always, is our number one priority. We will continue to work with Chief Bacon and local law enforcement to be sure that students are safe." Now, what's interesting is there's a follow-up to this. So, the Altoona Superintendent Daniel Peggs case has been linked and tied to another federal indictment in North Carolina. So, WQOW says, "We are learning the case against Altoona Superintendent Daniel Peggs is tied to another case, this time in North Carolina. Brian Lee Reagan, 43, of Charlotte, North Carolina, was charged Thursday with sex trafficking of a minor and production of child pornography. Those are the same charges Peggs is facing. However, Reagan is also charged with transportation of a minor and receipt of child pornography. According to Reagan's indictment, he knowingly took a minor across state lines for the purpose of engaging in illegal sexual activity in December 15th. That is the same month and year that Peggs allegedly engaged in sexual explicit conduct, specifically using an iPhone to produce a video of child pornography. Myra Longfield of the Wisconsin Department of Justice told News 18 on Friday the common factor between the two cases is the victim. Reagan's next court date is Tuesday in Charlotte. Peggs will be back in federal court in Madison on Monday. Now, let's go over and let's talk about this Wisconsin teacher, a completely different case, and we'll give the computer a minute to boot this up. I wonder if I close these others, if it'll help now that we're done with them. I have the slowest computer when I do lives because I don't have enough bandwidth and RAM to actually do this in a professional manner. But I'm an amateur, so I don't worry about it too much. That sounded really loud, didn't it? Hope my house is still standing. Okay, so computer's frozen. I'm sorry, guys. I do my best, you know. We will come back and do the story. So, oh, here it is. Wisconsin teacher charged with trying to record students. Completely different story, completely different area, completely different teacher. Madison, Wisconsin. A Wisconsin high school teacher has been charged in federal court with 7 counts. 7 of attempting to create child pornography by secretly recording minors twice in 2019. The charges follow an investigation that was triggered by the discovery of hidden recording devices in the Minneapolis hotel room of students he was chaperoning on a business club trip in December. It's okay, Maya. Maya has seizures, so my dog's having a seizure. Please bear with me. It's okay. It's okay. Mama's here. It's okay. You're fine. All right. Sorry about that. Life sometimes takes a turn. David Crutchen, a 37-year-old teacher at Madison East High School, was indicted by a federal grand jury on Wednesday and arrested at his home in Madison suburb of Cottage Grove on Thursday morning. The indictment charges Crutchen with 6 counts of attempting to produce child pornography involving 6 different minors on October 27th, 2019, and 1 count of attempting to produce it with a 7th minor on January 20th, 2019, using hidden recording devices that had been moved across state lines. It was not immediately clear where the alleged recordings that led to the charges were made. The State Department of Justice previously asked parents for information about other trips involving Business Club other than the one in December to Minneapolis. If convicted, Crutchen faces 15 to 30 years in federal prison on each count. He is scheduled to appear in court later Thursday in Madison. That was January 30th, 2020. Now, we're going to close this and we're going to jump over to the next one. Now, this is Milwaukee, right? MPS teacher charged with human trafficking and sexual assault. Milwaukee, CBS 58 reports, a Milwaukee public school teacher is facing charges for human trafficking and sexual assault. According to criminal complaint, 46-year-old Christian Mothershead brought a woman and her son to Milwaukee from the Philippines under the pretense he was going to marry her. Instead, court documents say Mothershead forced the woman to clean his car and home. According to the criminal complaint, the woman's son was forced to clean up bottles of urine, and the two were not fed properly. According to MPS's website, Mothershead is a teacher at the Milwaukee Academy of Chinese Language. CBS 58 has reached out to MPS for statement. Mothershead faces 90 years in prison. We're going to close that and we're going to jump over to, I'm supposed to leave something up so that way you guys have something visual to look at. What do you want to look at while we go talk on the live? How about, let's just throw one out there, see if we can pick it up. Let's just go Wisconsin corruption and just see what happens. Let's bring up whatever we get. And we'll pick one. Is Wisconsin inherently corrupt? Comes up on Reddit. So we're just going to throw it out there. And that'll be what we're going to look at while we do our lives. So this is Is Wisconsin Inherently Corrupt? The poster's name is deleted, and it basically, just a luck of the draw. This is what we got. I was wondering what the general consensus in the community is, and it's ever been discussed. So let's see if I can do this right. If I make this smaller, how do I do this? I'm always trying to work this out so that I can, oh no, I don't know how to do it because I would have to have a picture up for you guys and still be able to see the chat. So, what do you guys feel? I mean, is it that we're getting better at, uncovering the corruption and so the whistleblowers are stepping forward and we're catching more of it? Or do you feel that there's more club members that are taking place? What do you guys feel? Sorry if it's buffering. I apologize. Like I said, I was flipping between screens a lot. A. Woodward, hey, good to see you, says they won't win. They're going all out, but it will be met when the time comes. Good outweighs evil. Very true, very true. And let's go up here and see who's all with us tonight. Hey, Jamie, good to have you back. Hey, Shaz, good to see ya. MFMC, good to see you. Hello, everyone. Just got here. Sounds good so far. Let's see. A. Woodward says, we're going to let it show because he spelt it different, but he said, F 'em, watch 'em all, fall screaming, automatic gunfire, coursing all demons, that this is a national agenda, transgendered, next lower age of consent. See how fast it went from gay rights, and we all called this years ago. Who knows? I respect everybody's opinion. I do believe that there is a lot of whistleblowing where victims are starting to feel empowered. They have a voice. Now there's the internet, and they know that they can get some proof with all the phones we have. Think about how much cameras are used in all these cases and all the sex trafficking, and then we have Teresa with cameras, and we have the Ben Bennett case with photos, and it's just it's getting ridiculous how much sex involvement there is and involving innocence. I mean, we have Milwaukee cops in 1981 in these pictures that have children present, and the cops are absolutely naked and nude. That's not okay. That is not okay. We have children being taken on field trips and cameras being planted wherever they were planted that are picking up pornographic type or images being used for pornographic commercial. Teachers are taking children across state line and engaging in sex information and trafficking these children. How do we know when we send our kids to school that our schools are safe? Shaz says, no, this is so wrong. They are tainting our children. They are not letting them grow up normal. And the kids, well, they are still kids. Yep, spot on. Once again, gals. Okay. Yeah, it's all overboard. I agree with you 100%, Shaz. Totally. Teresa agrees with A. Woodward. Jamie agrees with Shaz. A. Woodward said they're trying to stop my broadcast, is why we're getting a lot of buffering. I'm personally going to say it's because I have a really crappy computer. But at this point, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I don't know how long this video will be allowed on YouTube. But it won't matter because we have an uncensored website that we personally, as a community, pay for to alleviate this censorship that we're faced with if we talk about political issues. It allows us to be true journalists. For instance, Who Wants Truth has been doing a forum where there's times when, it's getting held on Reddit. It's getting taken down on other locations, but on our site, on No Crime, No Time Community, we don't have Big Brother stepping down and telling us what we can say and what we can't say. And all of these videos are going to be over on that site come March 1st. We won't be having much activity on YouTube. It'll be a here and there live. Once the live is done, it'll be recorded, pulled off YouTube, and put over there in the No Crime, No Time community, which basically is free for all of you, excluding there are some videos that will be a charge that shows we're protecting the COPA law. So let's go ahead and go read what Turpo says. Thought it was my internet there. That's what they said. So, okay, let's see. Jamie says, as long as it's not KKRD, who knows who's involved in the actual clubs at this point. Like Dave Bagoda's saying, these businesses are being told that they have to participate in a club or they won't prosper. And so a lot of them do participate. Think about it. Bernstein's was a very successful candy store. We're talking about kids. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying they're a successful business in Milwaukee. And we're learning that, or I'm sorry, I'm going to rewind that, not Milwaukee, in Manitowoc. Now, we're learning that in these areas, this club basically revolves around any prestigious business that's successful is part of the club. What does that say about some of the stuff that we're learning? What does it say about the 1985 case when we have a successful business owner in the candy industry misidentifying the actual attacker when the victim stated that the guy's eyes were brown? Stephen's eyes are blue. She said she got a very close-up look at him, and yet she still identified Stephen. Didn't she question her own thought process? Wait a minute, this guy's eyes are brown? That I saw attack me? But yet I'm going to point to a guy that has absolutely blue eyes? What about the fact that she talked about the person's underwear when Stephen Avery didn't wear underwear? What about the cops being on that beach before the crime taking place? What do you guys think of all this sex trafficking all the way back into these cases? And now we're starting to see it's connected to certain teachers in different areas, from Altoona to Milwaukee to Madison. And it's not just Wisconsin. It's showing that it's connected in North Carolina. They're crossing state lines. MFMC says, makes you wonder how much corruption that we don't even know about. Doesn't that terrify you? It terrifies me to think that, yeah, we know about this corruption, but it'll be short-lived in the news. And the only thing we can do is try to really make it count in the news and share the public awareness about the whistleblowers, bringing justice and capturing these sick individuals that are sex trafficking, and then being held responsible for that act and being humiliated and held accountable to the point that they're being indicted. Even Josh Cole is involved. Now, Peg Schlager, Peg L, Attorney General, her son is Call, our Attorney General. She was completely against Avery. So what is Josh Cole doing as, in this case? What is Tony Evers doing to stop sex trafficking? Why aren't we hearing more news coverage about all these cases to expose this from the other people that are here to bring light to the corruption online? Come online, talk about the corruption. How come we're not hearing more about it from those people? Is it just because I'm local? I don't know. I can't answer that. Hi, Paula. Haven't seen Paula Harris in a long time. Great to see you. And Teresa is here. Moving On is here. Oh my God. Okay. Moving On's the one that like started me off on the barrels. She went and did a massive amount of research and she always told me not to give her credit, but she did. And she never really got a voice. I took a lot of her work and I put it in the barrel video. I did all my own graphics and yeah, I went a little different route than she did, but she's the one that got me thinking. And I want to say thank you for that. She's an amazing person as an individual. She's just a loving, kind individual, and I get excited to see her. So, Shaz says, yes, social media has really gone, especially into the time since Stephen was jailed. You know, where is the media? Where is the media doing the proper investigation in these stories? I'm helping be an elevator to get my dog on the bed. I heard about in Racine, I overheard a story about teachers ejaculating into cupcakes and feeding it to children. This club exists. If you are doing this to children, if you are sex trafficking, you are in that club. If you are framing individuals, you're in that club. That club does exist. It's a very wicked, wicked, wicked club. A lot of blackmailing goes on. And as Dave Bagoda has said, they throw these kind of parties. You can't go and yell at me and say, well, Ducky, how do we know any of the Avery people are in those photographs from 1981? I assure you, there are people in the different counties commingling at many different parties. It's not just one party. There are parties being held in the Wisconsin areas, like Dave was saying. Marable Caves is a prime example of where we suspect that these private things are taking place. And we hear rumors about these individuals witnessing high up officials, even FBI. I mean, we have to keep being whistleblowers. We have to give the locals the ability to come forward. If there are teachers in the Manitowoc area, Altoona area, wherever, that are knowing of these incidences. I mean, how did a superintendent get away with all that without any teachers knowing? I just don't buy it. Where are the teachers standing up that are on the good side for these kids and being whistleblowers? We need you guys. These children need you. We need you to stand up, come forward as groups to protect us from the predators of those involved in these sex clubs. And I'm going to come out and say there are sex clubs. And I'm not going to call it the boys club because we have a lot of females in these clubs. A lot. It's not just males that are becoming predators on children. There are females too. And it's just so frustrating. Shaz says, Teresa, I rarely ever listen to the news. MSM, it is so not honest. I know. So much fake news. So much fake news. Hey, Kelly Perry. Good to see you. Let's see here. I was going to give you a wrench and I forgot. Sorry, love. Okay, Judy Dvorak fed essay description to Penny Bernstein and then claimed it was eyewitness identification, even though the description was not a match. 100% true. Teresa says Evers was alleged to be cover-up for a few teachers. I've heard those rumors as well. I get that Wisconsin, that we're brats and we're beer, and we have a huge German ancestry and culture around us. And I have nothing against Germans because I have a lot of German in me. My grandpa from my father's side was full-blooded German. And I married a German. So it's not that I have a problem with Germans at all. What I have a problem with is the Nazi type belief that they matter And anybody that doesn't fit their regime doesn't matter, doesn't have value. And when you look at Peg Lautenschlager, Teresa Hallbach, you get a lot of German names in the Avery case and the Bam Bennett case as well. And a lot of our political figures and our leaders are Germans. Where does the corruption seem to lie? It follows the beer and brats at this point, and I have to wonder, is there some sort of underlying bad boys Nazi club that we're not aware of? I'm just asking. I'll be the first one to ask. And yeah, I'm going to take 1,000 people yelling at me. But I'm asking the question because we've got beer and brats and sex trafficking. That is not what Wisconsin should be known for. We're known for wrongful conviction, cheese, beer, brats, Al Capone. A lot of corruption there. Mafia mindset. Really lousy investigations into cases that are apparent that the individual's innocent. Let's see. Jamie says, local probably has a gag order. There was a rumor that there was a big gag order imposed on a lot of the law officials after Ma'am. I don't know if it was true or not, but it was a very serious rumor that did surface for a long time. When Ma'am came out and it first happened, a lot of us locals began to connect very quickly to try to understand what was taking place. And it was the first time that we were really paying attention to the fact that our news wasn't giving us the full story. It was like we discovered there was false news. King Kratz kind of burst our cherry on that. We're all sitting down at the dinner table going to feed our kids, and all of a sudden King Kratz comes out with some of these over-the-top, vulgar descriptions of the demise of victims that later proved to be completely imagination on King Kratz's over-the-top lying, and the evidence not even backing that story whatsoever. Shaz says we have experience. Paula says that is sick. Turbo, hey, good to see you. It's real life, eyes wide shut. And it's time for us to wake up. We need to watch our kids. We need to be overprotective parents when we can't even send them on a field trip without worrying about hidden devices. And what is all this photography? I mean, look at it. We've got teachers hiding cameras amongst the field trip to capture children. We've got different individuals in the Avery case hiding cameras to capture birthday parties of minor children as young as 2 years old. And where are the charges on all that? Why didn't that get years in prison? Yes, beer, brats, and cheese are yummy, but this corruption has got to quit. Sure, it's job security for those that are working for the club. That, they've got how big is this conspiracy? What are we really looking at? That's the question. And I think it has much deeper roots than we've ever thought of. I think that we're seeing more of it being exposed, but I do fear that this has been going on for many years. There was a huge rash. I call it a rash, or how do we say it? A rash of children being in cages, allegedly, in Manitowoc, Calumet, and some of those other counties during the 1990s. And King Kratz was the king of all these children in cages. What is that about? Moving on says the whole area in and around Manitowoc are conditioned to never cross the police. They know where it will end, so the police do whatever they want with no repercussions. Jamie says, agreed, moving on. And that's about all I have for you guys today. It was a double whammy, and I appreciate you joining me again. Let's go ahead and type our closing remarks. And I do thank you for all joining me. I'm going to be covering this from time to time on what we see in our local news so that it doesn't get pushed under the rug. I don't want to just see it on my TV. I want the nation to know what these criminals are doing to our children. And if it takes, me starting the wave where other people are getting on board to show this out there for people, so that we know to protect our children. What do we need to teach our children to protect them, you guys? What do we need to teach our children to protect them from criminals that once we told the kids to trust? It's just getting to where, at this point, do we homeschool our kids with computers to keep them from being ravished and their childhoods being stolen? What do we do? You guys hit me up with some answers. Give me some solutions. We'll go with one more comment and then we'll call it good. I always like to grab one more. One or two. Shaz says, moving on, well, it can't be allowed to continue. That is not fair for the community. Seems like they need to be booted out. Fresh start, all new people. How can sex offenders get away with it? And then Turbo says, wasn't there another teacher that just got caught with cameras under the student's desk and admitted to it like 5 years now? I'm not sure. I hadn't heard that one, but I don't doubt it. We definitely need to think about this as parents, not just Wisconsin parents, but if you've got school-age children, what are we doing as parents to protect our youth? All right, guys. Love you much.